today's video. We're gonna be throwing this HMF exhaust on our Can-Am Outlander. This thing just looks awesome. This is the gunmetal gray, but we have the black performance end cap on it. Just a great looking exhaust here. Very well made. And we're also gonna be throwing on the HMF fuel optimizer. So we're gonna have to go through, get this thing hooked up. All right guys, we have our Can-Am out here. We are gonna be doing the sound test and just doing some runs with our stock exhaust system. All right guys, the first thing we're gonna do is go ahead and get the exhaust installed, and then we'll put the HMF fuel optimizer in, which is gonna require a little bit more work as far as getting some of the plastics off. That way we can get to those actual plugs that we need to get to. But let's get going with the exhaust part first. We'll get this thing taken off. So from the back here, there's a bolt you have to access right up in there. And then it goes through to this back side. Right up here, there's a little fastener you have to get to, and that's gonna take it off of that hanger. And then up here, all you have is just that little exhaust clamp. Right, guys, we have a 1/2-inch wrench back here, and then we have a 1/2-inch socket operating this one back here. We're gonna go ahead and get this one loosened up. So guys, there is another fastener. It's right here on the bottom of the exhaust. Actually, 2 more. That's kind of a weird configuration, but we're gonna get those 2 taken out too. All right, we're gonna get this second fastener off. Taking this one out, 10 millimeter. Milliliter. You know what I'm saying? You funny. All right, then we have the one that comes from the bottom side. All right, getting this third one out. Fourth one, whatever it is. The one that comes from the bottom. We had to get a little breaker bar out and put on the end of this thing, because that clamp was on there. So we got it loosened now though. So just expect that thing to be pretty tight, and this is a brand new quad. It doesn't even have like 80 miles on it. So I'm sure if you have an older one, this thing could probably be seized up really good. But let's see if we can wiggle this thing out now. I'm sure there's another hidden bracket somewhere that I'm not seeing. It's always the same with every single machine. Oh my God, I did this on the motorcycle. You gotta shimmy these things off. This is a pain in the butt. Oh God. All right, guys. We're gonna get this thing mocked up and see if this thing fits on here. Super exciting, guys. I always like putting exhaust on. It's like something I have to do every time I get a new machine. It's like a must-have mod right out the gate. Okay. Well, looks like she's gonna fit pretty good. I like that color scheme too. All right, let's get the exhaust clamp and this bracket mocked up, and then we'll slide that exhaust in. All right, so to be able to put that bracket on right there, we have to be able to access up under here, there's 3 bolts right there, and the bracket goes in between those, but you can't access the back of it without taking off some of the plastic here. So we're going to be taking off this bolt right here, T30 Torx. I guess that's the beauty of a utility quad with so much plastic. All right, I think that's enough to get some access to it, I believe. Maybe not. Guys, a quick update. We did get these out. Had to wrestle with them quite a bit. Honestly, the corner screw up here, I don't know if it had a nut on the back or if it was actually just screwed into the aluminum here, but the bolt came out pretty easy. I was expecting there to be a nut on the back side of this, and I guess there wasn't because it came out. This right here, you do have enough clearance behind this bracket to get up there and get the nut off the back side. And then this one right here at the bottom, super tight clearance. You have to access that by taking this tail light off just a little bit. There's a fastener here, and then there's a little clip on the inside you have to undo. And then you're able to access back in there and hold that nut down enough to actually get the fastener out. So now what we're gonna do is we have to loosen up this bumper bracket right here to give us enough clearance to go ahead and put the bracket in between this hanger right here. So let's get to doing that. A lot of steps to this, guys. It's kind of a lot for, you know, exhaust. I'm just loosening this up a little bit. So we have to stick it in between this down bracket and then the frame up here. Moment we've all been waiting for. We're gonna go ahead, get this pipe put on. We got the clamp already up here on top, ready to go. We're gonna get this thing fed in there. Best part of the whole build. I mean, it's been a wrestling match so far. Hopefully we can get this lined up nice and easy. Kind of just fed on there. So we got the 2 bolts in that hold the exhaust to the exhaust bracket back here. Those weren't too bad, honestly. It may have been easier if we just connected the exhaust to the bracket first, but then again, I don't know, we kind of wrestled with every piece of this, so just expect some wrestling to go on. And then the last thing we got is just to clamp this exhaust clamp down. All right, we had to switch over to a deep well socket to allow for that clamp to be tightened. All right, there we go. I think that's everything. Let's go ahead and get this optimizer installed, and then we'll go take this thing out for some sound clips. So I guess if you order from HMF, it's already set up for your model based on just running a full exhaust or just a slip-on exhaust. So all you have to do is plug this thing in and you should be good to go. You don't really have to mess with it unless you really want to fine-tune some of the settings, such as mixing your fuel, getting it lean, getting it richer, or whatever you need to mix the air and the fuel. But let's go ahead and get this thing installed. To be able to get to most of this, we're gonna have to remove some of these plastic pieces right here, because we definitely need to get in right here. That way we can get to those throttle body wires and then actually get these plugs plugged in. So we're gonna have to take this panel off too. We're just gonna go ahead, unbolt some of these. That way we can get some access there. And then there's a bunch of little clips, like these little quick clips. And you're gonna have to get down in there and get some of those out as well. So I'm not gonna go through all that because every model is gonna be different, but we're gonna go ahead and get this off, and then we're gonna show you once we get down to the plugs and stuff how we do that. All right guys, so we've been wrestling a little bit. We had to take off pretty much this whole side panel right here. I did loosen this up right here. That way we can pull this up a little bit. We're probably gonna have to disassemble a lot of this. That way we can get to the injector that's down in here. But I've already wiggled loose the front injector. I don't know if you can see, but it's right there. And then the connector is right here. So all we have to do is take our little harness that we get from HMF. You're gonna have two different sets of plugs, one for the front cylinder, one for the back cylinder. And it doesn't matter which orientation it's in. You can use either or, but essentially the plug that we unplugged that goes to the injector, this is gonna clip on it. And then this one goes into the other clip that was on the injector originally. So it's pretty easy. The biggest problem is kind of wrestling with some of these parts. But if I can do it, guys, a lot of you guys can, because I'm not too creative with this kind of stuff. But I try to get it done somehow. But we're gonna go ahead and try to get this clip back in. All right, so I'm gonna try to take this plug and get it on here. Might be a little difficult. It's a tight fit, so the clip part goes towards the front of the machine. I can't see anything. There we go. Heard it clip in. I can't see anything either. Sorry, the video footage is kind of crazy. But I heard the click. Now we're gonna take the old port. You can see the old one's like right here. And then we're gonna clip that one in. Oh my God. That's the reason I don't do too much filming when I'm working on stuff. It's because I end up throwing a lot of stuff, and I throw a lot of wrenches. I get pissed off a lot. So that's typically why I don't have the camera on. So luckily that right there went pretty smooth, but we're gonna have to get to this back one and get the other set plugged in. But other than that, it should be pretty easy. It does have a ground wire that we're just going to install to the negative battery terminal to ground this thing out. And then this thing will probably just sit right in here. We're gonna figure out a way to tuck all this wiring up. Probably go through the inside with it right here. But yeah, to keep everything kind of tucked in. But other than that, shouldn't be too awfully bad. All right. Hopefully the wrestling's over. Okay, got those clipped in now. All right. Now we can see how we want to route this whole unit. I think we're going to keep it on the inside of this linkage, and then probably route it up under here. It's our ground wire. Don't want to put too much pressure on this though. We're going to kind of lay it in there. All right, we're just going to zip tie all this together right here. Kind of keep it all the way, keep it away from that shift linkage is the main thing. All right, that's good enough. Don't have to cinch it down too much. We're gonna go ahead and get the ground wire put on. All right, so we got the fuel optimizer just sitting down in here in this little pocket, and then we've kind of zip tied up some of the wires so they're gonna stay in place. We got the ground wire ran to the negative battery terminal, and I think we're gonna go ahead and turn this thing on and see what it does before we put everything back on and it doesn't work right. We're gonna go ahead and turn this machine on. And like I said earlier, HMF says that they already have the unit set up for your specific machine. So you shouldn't have to do anything unless you really want to fine tune this. So let's get this thing started. All right, so we have power to it. It's doing its thing. I don't know what it's doing. But let's start it. Actually, I should probably turn it off before I start talking, but we're gonna go ahead, get this thing buttoned back up, the plastics put back on, then we're gonna take this thing out. Guys, I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of a wrestling match getting this stuff put in, but overall, not extremely bad, especially, you know, I'm not familiar with how to take the plastics off. It's kind of a first time thing, but wasn't too extremely bad. I would say overall this has took me maybe 2 hours tops, so you're not looking at a ton of time that goes into this either. All right, let's get this thing buttoned up. All right guys, so we have it out here. We're gonna try to do some sound clips, and it is cold, so bear with us guys. We're gonna try to get you some clips here.
What can I say? This thing sounds amazing. I think it's a great addition to this Outlander, and I don't even know if we need the quiet core. Honestly, it's not as loud as I expected it to be, because you know, I used to have one of these on my LTR 450 and it was a lot louder than this is, but this sounds perfect. But like I said, if we're riding with a big group of people, maybe they're running some really quiet quads, we'll throw in that quiet core. But guys, it's cold, I'm getting inside. Hopefully you like this video, and stay tuned, we're gonna be doing a lot more videos with the Outlander, doing some trips and that kind of stuff, probably some more mods, because you know me, I like to throw mods on just about anything I have. All right guys, thanks for watching, see you guys later.